Oh, it would appear we're on. Okay. Once again, let me bring it up on my phone so I can make sure that it's actually doing things and stuff and not being homosexual. Oh, it would appear we're on. Okay. Once again, let me bring it up on my phone so I can make sure that it's actually doing things and stuff. I sound very high pitched. Hang on. I sound very high pitched. Hang on. Oh no, it's just me being dumb. That's yeah, okay, that's just how I sound. Right, okay. Back to Bible we go. This isn't the Bible. Where was the? Oh yeah, this is the Bible I had. No, I just wait to see, like, what yous can actually see. Give me 1 second, ladies and gentleladies, boys and girls. Yeah, it should be good, right? Yes, okay. The whole earth had the same language and vocabulary. As people migrated from the east, they found a valley in the land of Shinar and settled there. They said to each other, "Come, let's make oven-fired bricks." They used bricks for stone, and asphalt for mortar. And they said, "Come, let us build ourselves a city, and a tower within its top, in the sky. Let's make a name for ourselves, otherwise we will be scattered throughout the earth." Then the Lord came down to look over the city and the tower that the humans were building. The Lord said, "If they have begun to do this as one people, all having the same language, then nothing they plan to do will be impossible for them. Come, let's go down there and confuse their language so that they will not understand one another's speech." So from there the Lord scattered them throughout the earth, and they stopped building the city. Therefore it is called Babylon, for there the Lord confused the language of the whole earth, and from there the Lord scattered them throughout the earth. Dude, they just, like, become smart, and you just had to. You ruined it. Congratulations. You ruined it. Are you happy? These are the family records of Shem. Shem lived 100 years and fathered Avarachshad 2 years after the flood. After he fathered Arpachshad, Shem lived 500 years and fathered other sons and daughters. Arpachshad lived 35 years and fathered Selah. After he fathered Shelah, Arpachshad lived 403 years and fathered other sons and daughters. Shelah lived 30 years and fathered Eber. After he fathered Eber, Shelah lived 403 years and fathered other sons and daughters. Eber lived 34 years and fathered Peleg. After he fathered Peleg, Eber lived 430 years and gathered other sons and daughters. Peleg lived. Can I skip this? Please, can I? Yeah, I do. I don't want to read that. It's just saying family trees. I don't care about that. Terah took his son Abram, his grandson Lot, Haran's son, and his daughter-in-law Sarai, to his son Abram's wife, and they set out together from Ur of the Chaldeans to go back to Canaan, to go to the land of Canaan. But when they came to Haran, they settled there. Okay. Chapter 12 of Genesis. The Lord said to Abram, "Go from your land, your relatives, and your father's house, to the land that I will show you. I will make you into a great nation. I will bless you. I will make your name great, and you will be a blessing. I will bless those who bless you. I will curse anyone who treats you with contempt, and all the peoples on earth will be blessed through you." So Abram went as the Lord had told him, and Lot went with him. Abram was 75 years old when he left Haran. He took his wife, Sarai, his nephew, Lot, all of the possessions they had accumulated, and the people they had acquired in Haran, and they set out for the land of Canaan. When they came to the land of Canaan, Abram passed through the land to the side of Shechem, the oak of Moreh. At that time the Canaanites were in the land. The Lord appeared to Abram and said, "To your offspring I will give this land." So he built an altar there to the Lord who had appeared to him. From there he moved unto the hill country east of Bethel, and pitched his tent, with Bethel on the west and Ai on the east. He built an altar to the Lord there, and he called on the name of the Lord. Then Abram journeyed by stages to the Negev. There was a famine in the land, so Abram went down to Egypt to stay there for a while, because the famine in the land was severe. When he was about to enter Egypt, he said to his wife Sarai, "Look, I know what a beautiful woman you are. When the Egyptians see you, they will say, 'This is his wife.' They will kill me, but let you live. Please, please say you're my sister, so it will go well for me because of you, and my life will be spared on your account." When Abram entered Egypt, the Egyptians saw that the woman was very beautiful. Pharaoh's officials saw her and praised her to Pharaoh, so the woman was taken to Pharaoh's household. He treated Abram well, and because of her, and Abram required flocks and herds, males and female donkeys, males and female slaves, and camels. The Lord's But the Lord struck Pharaoh and his household with severe plagues because of Abram's wife Sarai. So Pharaoh sent for Abram and said, "What have you done to me? Why didn't you tell me she was your wife? Why did you say, 'She's my sister,' so that I took her as my wife? Now, here is your wife. Take her and go." The Pharaoh gave his men orders about him, and had they sent him away with his wife and all he had. Chapter 13. Yeah, Tommy, are you still in chat? Yeah. I think Abraham is definitely a simp. Abram went up from Egypt to the Negev, he, his wife, and all he had, and Lot with him. Moans in religious belief. Oh, I've lost my place. Abram was very rich in livestock, silver, and gold. He went by stages from the Negev to Bethel, to the place between Bethel and Ai, where his tent had formerly been, to the site where he had built the altar. And Abram called on the name of the Lord there. Now Lot, who was travelling with Abram, also had flocks, herds, and tents, but the land was unable to support them as long as they stayed together, for they had so many possessions that they could not stay together, and there was quarrelling between the herdsmen of Abram's livestock and the herdsmen of Lot's livestock. So Abraham is straight up a slave owner. At that time, the Canaanites and the Perizzites were living in the land. So Abram said to Lot, "Please, let's not have quarrelling between you and me, or between your herdsmen and my herdsmen, since we are relatives. Isn't the whole land before you? Separate from me. If you go to the left, I will go from the right. If you go to the right, I will go to the left." Yeah, I know. He did some simping, and he gathered about 30 slaves, a flock of cattle and sheep, and he didn't get murdered. Jesus Christ, this man put all of his points into charisma. Lot looked out and saw that the entire plain of the Jordan as far as Zoar was well watered everywhere like the Lord's garden and the land of Egypt. This was before the Lord destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah. So Lot chose the entire plain of the Jordan for himself, and then Lot journeyed eastward, and they separated from each other. Abram lived in the land of Canaan, but Lot lived in the cities and the plains, and set up his tent near Sodom. Now the men of Sodom were evil, sinning immensely against the Lord. After Lot is separated from him, the Lord said to Abram, Look from the place where you are. Look north and south, east and west. For I will give you and your offspring forever all the land that you see. I will make your offspring like the dust of the earth, so that if anyone could count the dust on the earth, then your offspring could be counted. Get up and walk around the land through its length and width, for I will give it to you. So Abram moved his tent and went to live near the oaks of Mamre at Hebron, where he built an altar to the Lord. Okay. In those days King Amraphel of Shinar, King Arioch of Elasar, King Chedorlaomer, these are fancy words I can't speak, alright? Of Elam, and King Tidal of Goiim waged war against King Bera of Sodom, King Bersha of Gomorrah, King Shinab of Admah, and King Shamberer of Zeboim, as well as the king of Bela, that is, Zoar. All of these came as allies to the Siddim Valley, that is, the Dead Sea. They were subject to the Chedorlaomer for 12 years, but in the 13th year they rebelled. In this 14th year, Chedorlaomer and the kings who came with him defeated the Rephaim in Astroth Canaim, the Zuhim in Ham, the Enim in Shaveth Kiriathim, and the Horites in the mountains of Seir, as far as El Paran by the wilderness. Then they came back to invade En Mishpat, that is, Kadesh, and they defeated the whole territory of the Amalekites, as well as the Amorites who lived in Hazazon Tamar. I'm surprised Tommy's still watching. Then the king of Sodom, the king of Gomorrah, the king of Admah, the king of Zeboim, and the king of Bela, that is, Zoar, went out and lined up for battle in the Siddim Valley against King Chedorlaomer of Elam, King Tidal of Goiim, King Araphnel of Shinar, King Arioch of Elasar, 4 kings against 5. Now the Siddim Valley contained many asphalt pits, and as the kings of Sodom and Amorah fled, some fell into them, but the rest fled to the mountains. The 4 kings took all of the goods of Sodom and Gomorrah, and all their food, and went on. They also took Abram's lot and his possessions, for he was living in Sodom, and he went on. Oh, we have Dara in the chat. I'm practically running Bible study at this point. One of the survivors came and told Abram the Hebrew, who lived near the oaks belonging to Mamre the Amorite, that the brother of Eshcol and the brother of Ner, they were bound by a treaty with Abram. When Abram heard that his relative had been taken prisoner, he assembled his 318 trained men born in his household and went in pursuit as far as Dan. Jesus Christ! 318 men born in his house. Holy, yeah, he is. And he and his servants deployed again against them by night, defeated them, and pursued them as far as Hobah to the north, Damascus. He brought back all the goods, and also his relative Lot and his goods, as well as the women and the other people. Abraham's over here. He just defeated like 4 kingdoms. Jesus Christ. And after Abram returned from defeating Chedorlaomer and the kings who were with him, the king of Sodom went out to meet him in the Shaveh Valley, that is, the King's Valley. Melchizedek, king of Salem, brought out bread and wine. He was a priest to God Most High. He blessed him and said, Abraham is blessed by God Most High, creator of heaven and earth, and blessed be God Most High. who has handed over your enemies to you. And Abram gave him a tenth of everything. And the king of Sodom said to Abram, Give me the people, but take the possessions for yourself. Then Abram said to the king of Sodom, I have raised my hand in an oath to the Lord, God Most High, Creator of heaven and earth, that I will not take a thread or sandal strap or anything that belongs to you, so you can never swear. I made Abram rich. I will take nothing except what the servants have eaten. But as for the share of the men who came with me, Aner, Eshcol, and Mamre, they can take their share. Yeah, it is pretty interesting. If only they were to word it less, I don't know, old, and if everyone had less impronounceable names, I would read this for fun. After these events, the word of the Lord came to Abram in a vision. Do not be afraid, Abram. I am your shield. Your reward will be very great. But Abram said, Lord God, what can you give me, since I am childless, and the heir of my house is Eliezer of Damascus? Abram continued, Look, you have given me no offspring, so a slave born in my house will be my heir. Now the word of the Lord came to him, This one will not be your heir. Instead, one who comes from your own body will be your heir. He took him outside and said, Look at the sky and count the stars, if you are able to count them, he said. Then he said to him, Your offspring will be that numerous. Abram believed the Lord, and he credited it to him as righteousness. He also said to him, I am the Lord who brought you from Ur of the Chaldeans to give you this land to possess. Yeah, it was written at least 6 years ago. But yeah, it was written almost exactly 2,000 years ago. Probably about 2,400. Just someone should rewrite it, but give everyone less annoying names. But he said, Lord God, how can I know that I will possess it? He said to him, Bring me a 3-year-old cow, a 3-year-old female goat, a 3-year-old ram, a turtle dove, and a young pigeon. So he brought all these to him, cut them in half, and laid the pieces opposite each other. But he did not cut the birds in half. Birds of prey came down on the carcasses, but Abram drove them away. As the sun was setting, a deep sleep came over Abram, and suddenly great terror and darkness descended on him. Then the Lord said to Abram, I know this for certain. Your offspring will be resident aliens for 400 years in a land that does not belong to them, and will be enslaved and oppressed. However, I will judge the nation they serve, and afterwards they will go out with many possessions. But you will go to your ancestors in peace and be buried at a good old age. In the 4th generation they will return here, for the iniquity of Amorites has not yet reached its full measure. Yeah, this is like a podcast, except less people. When the sun had set and it was dark, a smoking firepot and a flaming torch appeared and passed between the divided animals. On that day the Lord made a covenant with Abram, saying, I give this land to your offspring, from the brook of Egypt to the great river, the Euphrates River, the land of the Kenites, Kenizzites, Cadmonites, Hittites, Perizzites, Rephaim, Amorites, Canaanites, Girgashites, and Jebusites. What's my audio like? Is it bad? Right, next chapter. Chapter 16, Hagar and Ishmael. Abram's wife, Sarai, had not borne any children for him, but she owned an Egyptian slave named Hagar. Sarai said to Abram, Since the Lord has prevented me from bearing children, go to my slave. Perhaps through her I can build a family. You know, with that quote, she's definitely just cheating on him with the slave. I'm certain of it. And Abram agreed to what Sarai said. So Abram's wife, Sarai, took Hagar, her Egyptian slave, and gave her to her husband Abraham as a wife for him. This happened after Abram had lived in the land of Canaan 10 years. He slept with Hagar, and she became pregnant, and she saw that she was pregnant. Her mistress became contemptible for her. Then Sarai said to Abram, "You're responsible for my suffering. I put my slave in your arms, and when she saw that she was pregnant, I became contemptible to her. May the Lord judge between me and you." This is like a weird story. This is a very weird story. So, it was your idea? Like, what do you mean? It's a pretty good idea, actually. Abram replied to Sarai, "Here, your slave is in your power. Do whatever you want with her." Then Sarai mistreated her so much that she ran away from her. The angel of the Lord found her by a spring in the wilderness, the spring on the way to Shur. He said, "Hagar, slave of Sarai, where have you come from, and where are you going?" She replied, "I'm running away from my mistress, Sarai." The angel of the Lord said to her, "Go back to your mistress and submit to her authority." The angel of the Lord said to her, "I will greatly multiply your offspring, and they will be too many to count." The angel of the Lord said to her, "You have conceived and will have a son. You will name him Ishmael. For the Lord has heard of your cry of affliction. This man will be like a wild donkey. His hands will be against everyone, and against everyone's hand will be against him. He will settle near all his relatives." So she named the Lord who spoke to her, "You are El Roi," for she said, "In this place have I actually seen the one who sees me." That is why the well is called Bir Lahai-Roi. It is between Kadesh and Bered. So Hagar gave birth to Abram's son, and Abram named his son, whom Hagar bore, Ishmael. Abram was 86 years old when Hagar bore Ishmael to him. That's why he couldn't have children. He's 86 goddamn years old. What do you mean? Covenant circumcision. Oh no. When Abram was 99 years old, the Lord appeared to him, saying, "I am God Almighty. Live in my presence and be blameless. I will set up my covenant between me and you, and I will multiply you greatly." Then Abram fell face down, and God spoke with him. "As for me, here is my covenant with you. You will become the father of many nations. Your name will no longer be Abram, your name will be Abraham, for I will make you the father of many nations. I will make you extremely fruitful, and will make nations and kings come from you. I will confirm my covenant that is between me and you and your future offspring throughout their generations. It is a permanent covenant to your God and the God of your offspring after you. And to you and your future offspring I will give the land where you are residing, all the land of Canaan, as a permanent possession, and I will be their God." Could I claim to be the descendant of Abraham and then get all of the land in Canaan? That'd be some pretty good fraud. God also said to Abraham, "As for you, you and your offspring after you throughout their generations are to keep my covenant. This is my covenant between me and you and your offspring after you, which you are to keep. Every one of your males must be circumcised. You must circumcise the flesh of your foreskin to serve as a sign of the covenant between me and you." Jesus Christ, God, why? "Throughout your generations, every male among you is to be circumcised at 8 days old. Every male born in your household or purchased from any foreigner, and not your offspring. Whether born in your household or purchased, he must be circumcised. My covenant will be marked in your flesh as a permanent covenant. If any male is not circumcised in the flesh of his foreskin, that man will be cut off from his people. He has broken my covenant." What did he do? It's not his fault. It's the fault of the actions of the people around him. God said to Abraham, "As for your wife Sarai, do not call her Sarai, for Sarah will be her name. I will bless her, indeed, I will give you a son by her. I will bless her, and she will produce nations, kings of people will come from her." Abraham fell face down. Then he laughed and said to himself, "Can a child be born to a 100-year-old man? Can Sarah, a 90-year-old woman, give birth?" So Abraham said to God, "If only Ishmael were acceptable to you." But God said, "No, your wife Sarah will bear you a son, and will name him Isaac. I will confirm my covenant with him as a permanent covenant for his future offspring. As for Ishmael, I have heard you. I will certainly bless him. I will make him fruitful, and will multiply him greatly. He will father 12 tribal leaders, and I will make him into a great nation. But I will confirm my covenant with Isaac, whom Sarah will bear to you at this time next year." When he had finished talking with him, God withdrew from Abraham. So Abraham took his son Ishmael, and there was born in the household or purchased every male among the members of Abraham's household, and he circumcised the flesh off their foreskin on that very day, just as God had said to him. Abraham was 99 years old when the flesh of his foreskin was circumcised, and his son Ishmael was 13 years old when the flesh of his foreskin was circumcised. On that very day Abraham and his son Ishmael were circumcised, and all the men of his household, whether born in the household or purchased from a foreigner, were circumcised with him. Why? Just why would you do that? What do you have to stand to gain? What's my audio like? The Lord appeared to chapter 18. Abraham's three visitors. The Lord appeared to Abraham at the oaks of Mamre while he was sitting on the entrance of his tent during the heat of the day. He looked up and he saw three men standing near him. When he saw them, he ran from the entrance of his tent to meet them, bowed to the ground, and said, "My lord, if I have found favour with you, please do not go on past your servant. Let a little water be brought, so that you may wash your feet and rest yourself under the tree. I will bring a bit of bread, so that you may strengthen yourself. This is why you have passed your servant's way. Later you can continue on." Alright, yeah, I got some decent audio. Oh, and Tommy is gone. Wonderful. "Yes," they replied, "do as you have said." So Abraham hurried into the tent and said to Sarah, "Quick, knead 3 measures of fine flour and make bread." Abraham ran to the herd and got a tender, choice calf. He gave it to a young man, who hurried to prepare it. Then Abraham took curds and milk, as well as the calf he had prepared, and set them before the men. He served them as they ate under the trees. Sarah laughs. "Where is your wife Sarah?" they asked him. "There, in the tent," he answered. The Lord said, "I will certainly come back to you in about a year's time, and your wife Sarah will have a son." Tommy is here. Wonderful. Not that, yeah, that's in the Bible. Tommy is here. Now Sarah was listening at the entrance of the tent behind him. Abraham and Sarah were old and getting on in years. Sarah had passed the age of childbearing, so she laughed to herself. "After I am worn out, and my Lord is old, will I have delight?" But the Lord asked Abraham, "Why did Sarah laugh, saying, 'Can I really have a baby when I'm old?' Is anything impossible for the Lord? At the appointed time I will come back to you. In about a year you will have a son." Sarah denied it. "I did not laugh," she said, because she was afraid. But he replied, "No, you did laugh." Abraham's plea for Sodom. The men got up from there and looked out over Sodom, and Abraham was walking with them to see them off. Then the Lord said, "Should I hide what I am about to do from Abraham? Abraham is to become a great and powerful nation, and all the nations of the earth will be blessed through him. For I have chosen him, so that he will command his children and his house after him to keep the way of the Lord by doing what is right and just. This is how the Lord will fulfill to Abraham what he promised him. Then the Lord said, the outcry against Sodom and Gomorrah is immense, and their sin is extremely serious. I will go down to see if what they have done justifies the cry that has come up to me. If not, I will find out. The men turned from there and went towards Sodom, while Abraham remained standing before the Lord. Abraham stepped forward and said, will you really sweep away the righteous and the wicked? What if there are 50 righteous people in the city? Will you really sweep it away, instead of sparing the place for the sake of 50 righteous people who are in it? You cannot possibly do such a thing, to kill the righteous with the wicked, treating the righteous and the wicked alike. You cannot possibly do that. Won't the judge of the whole earth do what is just? But the Lord said, if I find 50 righteous people in the city of Sodom, I will spare the whole place for their sake. God's gone through some serious character arcs. Like, about 10 chapters ago, he literally flooded the whole planet because some person stole an apple or something from the Apple store. I don't know, he probably had more reason. I like to think someone just stole an apple. Then Abraham answered, since I have ventured to speak, my lord, even though I am dust and ashes, suppose the 50 righteous lack 5. Will you destroy the whole city for lack of 5? He replied, I will not destroy it if I find 45 there. Then he spoke to them again. Then he spoke to him again. Suppose 40 are found there. He answered, I will not do it on account of 40. Then he said, let my lord not be angry, and I will speak further. Suppose 30 are found there. I will not do it if I find 30 there. And then he said, since I have ventured to speak to my lord, suppose 20 are found there. He replied, I will not destroy it on account of 20. Then he said, let my lord not be angry, and I will speak one more time. Suppose 10 are found there. He answered, I will not destroy it on account of 10. When the Lord had finished speaking with Abraham, he departed, and Abraham returned to his place. I have to go drink water because my voice sounds like a frog that just died and had an aneurysm. I'll be back in a minute. I am back. Time for more Bible. The destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah. The two angels entered Sodom in the evening, as Lot was sitting in Sodom's gateway. When Lot saw them, he got up to meet them. He bowed with his face to the ground, and said, my lords, turn aside to your servant's house, wash your feet, and spend the night. Then you can get up early and go on your way. No, I took a water break. Oh. Is it still? Is it working? Uh, 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 is it working? Is it working? Let me test. Okay, right, yeah, it's working again. For some reason, my thing turned off, and it was not good. So basically, what's happened in the time that my audio was off? Basically, Isaac was born. He was circumcised. That's important for some goddamn reason. Sarah has kicked out the son of a servant because he's a bad influence and was making fun of some dude. I don't know. Um, and yeah, this was very distressing to Abraham because of his son. But God said to Abraham, "Do not be distressed about the boy and about your slave. Whatever Sarah says to you, listen to her, because your offspring will be traced through Isaac, and I will also make a nation of the slave's son, because he is your offspring." Early in the morning Abraham got up, took bread and a water skin, put them on Hagar's shoulders, and sent her and the boy away. She left and wandered in the wilderness of Beersheba. When the water in the skin was gone, she left the boy under one of the bushes, and went and sat at a distance, about a bowshot away, for she said, "I can't bear to watch the boy die." While she sat at a distance, she wept loudly. She just murdered a goddamn child. Okay. God heard the boy crying, and the angel of God called to Hagar from heaven and said to her, "What's wrong, Hagar? Don't be afraid, for God has heard the boy crying from the place where he is. Get up, help the boy up, and grasp his hand, for I will make him a great nation." And God opened his eyes, and she saw well. So she went and filled the waterskin, and gave the boy a drink. God was with the boy, and he grew. He settled in the wilderness and became an archer. He settled in the wilderness of Paran, and his mother got a wife for him from the land of Egypt. Abraham's covenant with Abimelech. That's hilarious stabbing emojis. At that time, Abimelech, accompanied by Phicol, the commander of his army, said to Abraham, "God is with you in everything you do. Swear to me by God here and now that you will not break an agreement with me or my children and descendants. As I have been loyal to you, so you will be loyal to me and to the country where you are a resident alien." And Abraham said, "I swear it." But Abraham complained to Abimelech because of the well that Abimelech's servants had sieged. Abimelech replied, "I don't know who did this thing. He didn't report anything to me, so I hadn't heard about it until today." Abraham took flocks and herds and gave them to Abimelech, and the two of them made a covenant. Abraham separated 7 ewe lambs from the flock, and Abimelech said to Abraham, "Why have you separated the 7 ewe lambs?" No, I can't talk. He replied, "You are to accept the 7 ewe lambs from me, so that this act will serve as my witness that I dug this well." Therefore this place was called Beersheba, because it was there that the two of them swore an oath. After they had made a covenant at Beersheba, Abimelech and Phicol, the commander of his army, left and returned to the land of the Philistines. Abraham planted a tamarisk tree in Beersheba, and there he called on the name of the Lord, the everlasting God. And Abraham lived an alien in the land of the Philistines for many days. Probably like 6. More than 6, actually. 8. Wow, it's a lot of days to live as an alien in Philistine. Ew. Ew, ew, ew. And Abraham gave to him 7 ewe lambs. The sacrifice of Isaac. After these things God tested Abraham, and said to him, "Abraham." "Here I am," he answered. "Take your son," he said, "your only son Isaac, whom you love. Go to the land of Moriah, and offer him there as a burnt offering on one mountain I will tell you about." So Abraham got up early in the morning, saddled his donkey, and took with him 2 of his young men and his son Isaac. He split wood for a burnt offering, and set out to go to the place God had told him about. On the 3rd day, Abraham looked up and saw the place in the distance. Then Abraham said to his young men, "Stay here with the donkey. The boy and I will go over there to worship, and will come back to you." Abraham took the wood for the burnt offering and laid it on his son Isaac. In his hand he took the fire and the knife, and the 2 of them walked on together. Then Isaac spoke to his father Abraham and said, "My father." And he replied, "Here I am, my son." Isaac said, "The fire and the wood are here, but where is the lamb for the burnt offering?" Abraham answered, "God himself will provide the lamb for the burnt offering, my son." Then the 2 of them walked on together. When they arrived at the place that God had told him about, Abraham built the altar there and arranged the wood. He bound his son Isaac and placed him on the altar on top of the wood. Then Abraham reached out and took the knife to slaughter his son. But the angel of the Lord called out to him from heaven and said, "Abraham, Abraham!" He replied, "Here I am." Then he said, "Do not lay a hand on the boy or do anything to him, for now I know that you fear God, since you have not withheld your only son from me." Abraham looked up and saw a ram caught in the thicket by its horns. So Abraham went and took the ram and offered it as a burnt offering in place of his son. And Abraham named that place, "The Lord will provide." So today it is said, it will be provided on the Lord's mountain. Yeah, this is kind of messed up. Like, he did go, "Chill, bro, it's just a prank." But still, what if... Jesus Christ. The relationship between Isaac and his father is never going to be the same again, knowing that your father will very readily offer you as a human sacrifice. And this is meant to paint God in a good light. What the hell? Then the angel of the Lord called to Abraham a second time from heaven and said, "By myself I have sworn, this is the Lord's declaration. Because you have done this thing, and not withheld your only son, I will indeed bless you, and make your offspring as numerous as the stars of the sky and the sand of the seashore. Your offspring will possess the city gates of their enemies, and all the nations on the earth will be blessed by your offspring, because you have obeyed my command." Abraham went back to his young men, and they got up and went together to Beersheba, and Abraham settled in Beersheba. Rebekah's family. Now after the things Abraham was told, Milcah also has borne sons to your brother Nahor, Uz his firstborn, his brother Buz, Kemuel, the father of Aram, Chesed, Hazo, Fildash, Jidlaph, and Bethuel. And Bethuel fathered Rebekah. Malka, I'm trying not to say Micah Bell, you son of... bore these to Nahor, Abraham's brother. His concubine, whose name was Rimhua, also bore Tebah, Gaham, Telash, and Makkah. Okay. Chapter 23. How long has the stream been? Oh, we're hitting an hour. Very nice. I'm gonna finish chapter 25, and that's gonna be it. I'm gonna aim for 15 chapters a stream. Now Sarah lived 127 years. These were all the years of her life. Sarah died. You should do a Minecraft stream. That would require me buying Minecraft on the laptop. And I can't stream from Xbox to YouTube. Because Xbox is homosexual. Yeah. Yeah, that would require me... So, as you can see, this, what you can see is about maybe a third of my actual screen. It's everything's in the top left corner for me. And so I'm not sure how Minecraft stream would work. But, yeah, it'd be good. I don't know. Minecraft $7.99. I don't have to learn how to play it on PC. I'm probably gonna read the Communist Manifesto soon instead of the Bible for one of these streams. When Abraham got up from beside his dead wife, he spoke to the Hethites. I'm an alien residing among you. Give me the burial property among you, so I can bury my dead. The Hethites replied to Abraham, Listen to us, my lord. None of us will withhold from you his burial place for burying your dead. Then Abraham rose and bowed down to the Hethites, the people of the land. He said to them, on my behalf, to give me the cave of Machpelah. Learning to play Minecraft. Yeah, alright, okay. Here's the deal, like, PayPal me 8 quid and I'll do it. No, I'm joking. If I ever run into a considerable amount of money. Yeah, okay. Ephron was sitting among the Hethites, so in the hearing of all the Hethites, who came to the gate of his city, Ephron the Hethite answered Abraham, No, my lord, listen to me. I give you the field, and I give you the cave that is in it. I give it to you in the sight of my people. Bury your dead. Below the land, and said to Ephron, in the hearing of the people of the land, Here, listen to me, if you please. Let me pay the price of the field. Accept it from me, and let me bury my dead there. Ephron answered Abraham and said to him, My lord, listen to me. Land worth 400 shekels. Shekels. 400 shiny schmeckles of silver. What is that between you and me? Bury your dead. Abraham agreed with Ephron, and Abraham weighed out to Ephron the silver that he had agreed, 400 shiny schmeckles. 400 schmeckles of silver. So Ephron's field at Machpelah near Mamre, the field with its cave and all the trees anywhere within the boundaries of the field, became Abraham's possession in the sight of all the Hethites who came to the gate of his city. After this, Abraham buried his wife Sarah in the cave of the field at Machpelah near Mamre, that is Hebron, in the land of Canaan. The field with its cave passed from Hethites to Abram as its burial property. You know, canonically, Noah lived about 900 years. And Tommy is gone. A wife for Isaac, chapter 24. Abraham was now old, getting on in years, and the Lord had blessed him in everything. Abraham said to his servant, the elder of his household, who managed all he owned, Place your hand under my thigh, and I will have you swear by the Lord, God of heaven, God of earth, that you will not take a wife for my son from the daughters of the Canaanites, among whom I live, but will go to my land and my family, just to take a wife for my son Isaac. The servant said to him, he's back. The servant said to him, Suppose the woman is unwilling to follow me to this land. Should I have your son go back to the land you came from? Yeah, you know, canonically, Noah lived to like 900 years old. I think it was like 937. And like, so did Cain. And most of Noah's, like, siblings and children. They lived for a freakishly long time. Abraham answered him, Make sure that you don't take my son back there. The Lord, the God of heaven, who took me from my father's house and from my native land, who spoke to me and swore to me, I will give this land to your offspring. He will send this angel before you, and you can take a wife from my son there. If the woman is unwilling to follow you, then you are free from this oath to me, but don't let my son go back there. So the servant placed his hand under his master Abraham's thigh, and swore an oath to him concerning the matter. His wrinkly 100-year-old thigh. The servant took 10 of his master's camels, and with all kinds of his master's goods in hand, he went to Aram Naharaim, to Nahor's town. At evening, the time when women went out to draw water, he made the camels kneel beside a well outside town. "Lord, God of my master Abraham," he prayed, "make this happen for me today, and show kindness to my master Abraham. I am standing here at the spring where the daughters of the men of the town are coming out to draw water. Let the girl to whom I say, 'Please lower your water jug so I may drink,' and who responds, 'Drink, and I'll water your camels also.' Let her be the one you have appointed for your servant Isaac. By this I will know that you have shown kindness to my master." Before he had finished speaking, there was Rebekah, daughter of Bethuel's son, to Milcah, the wife of Abraham's brother Nahor, coming with a jug on her shoulder. Now the girl was very beautiful, a virgin, no man had been intimate with her. She went down to the spring, filled her jug, and came up, and the servant ran to meet her and said, "Please let me have a little water from your jug." She replied, "Drink, my lord." She quickly lowered her jug, not drug. She lowered her cocaine and gave him a drink. When she had finished giving him a drink, she said, "I'll also draw water for your camels until they had enough to drink." She quickly emptied her jug into the trough and hurried to the well again to draw water. She drew water for all his camels, while the man silently watched her to see whether or not the Lord had made his journey a success. As the camels finished drinking, the man took a gold ring weighing half a shekel, half a shiny shekel, and for her wrists 2 bracelets wearing 10 shiny shekels of gold. "Whose daughter are you?" he asked. "Please tell me, is there room in your father's house for us to spend the night?" She answered him, "I am the daughter of Bethuel, son of Milcah, whom she bore to Nahor." She said to him, "We have plenty of straw and feed, and a place to spend the night." When the man knelt low, worshipped the Lord, and said, Blessed be the Lord and the God of my master Abraham, who has not withheld his kindness and faithfulness from my master. As for me, the Lord has led me on the journey to the house of my master's relatives." The girl ran and told her mother's household about these things. Now Rebekah had a brother named Laban, and Laban ran out to the man at the spring. As soon as he had seen the ring and bracelet on his sister's wrist, and when he had heard his sister Rebekah's words, the man said this to me. He went to the man. He was standing there by the camels at the spring. Laban said, "Come out here, you who are blessed by the Lord. Why are you standing out there? I have prepared the house and a place for the camels." So the man came into the house, and the camels were unloaded. Straw and feed were given to the camels, and water was brought to wash his feet, and the feet of the men with him. A meal was set before him, but he said, "I will not eat until I have said what I have to say." So Laban said, "Please, speak." "I am Abraham's servant," he said. "The Lord has greatly blessed my master, and he has become rich. He has given him flocks and herds, silver and gold, male and female slaves, and camels and donkeys. Sarah, my master's wife, bore a son to my master in her old age, and he has given him everything he owns. My master put me under this oath: You will not take a wife for my son from the daughters of the Canaanites in whose land I live, but will go to my father's family and to my clan and take a wife for my son." But I said to my master, "Suppose the woman will not come back with me?" He said to me, "The Lord before whom I have walked will send his angel with you and make your journey a success, and you will take a wife for my son, from my clan, and from my father's family. Then you will be free from my oath. If you go to my family, and they do not give her to you, you will be free from my oath." You see, I think the thing about the Bible is it's not long because there's a lot of content. It's long because it repeats things a lot. Today when I came to the spring, I prayed, "Lord, God of Master Abraham, if only you will make my journey successful. I am standing here at the spring. Let the young woman who comes to draw water," and I said to her, "Please let me drink a little water from your jug. I keep saying drugs." And he responds to me, "Drink, and I'll draw water for your camels also. Let her be the woman that the Lord has appointed for my master's son." This is a long chapter. Before I had finished praying silently, there was Rebecca coming from her with her jug on her shoulder, and she went down to the spring and drew water. So I said to her, "Please let me have a drink." She quickly lowered her jug from her shoulder and said, "Drink, and I'll water your camels also." So I drank, and she also watered the camels. Then I asked her, "Whose daughter are you?" She responded, "The daughter of Bethuel, son of Nahor, whom Milcah bore to him." So I put the ring on her nose and the bracelets on her wrist, and I knelt low, worshipped the Lord, and blessed the Lord, the God of my master Abraham, who guided me on the right way to take the granddaughter of my master's brother for his son. Now, if you are going to show kindness and faithfulness to my master, tell me; if not, tell me, and I will go elsewhere." Laban and Bethuel answered, "This is from the Lord. We have no choice in the matter. Rebekah is here in front of you. Take her and go, and let her be the wife for your master's son, just as the Lord has spoken." When Abraham's servant heard the words, he bowed to the ground before the Lord. He then brought out objects of silver and gold and garments, and gave them to Rebekah. He also gave precious gifts. Adios, go. Okay, right, the stream's gonna be over soon, so adios. Okay. Adios, go. Okay, yeah, never mind. Before Abraham's servant. Yeah, have I read this yet? Yep. When Abraham's servant heard their words, he bowed to the ground before the Lord. Then he brought out subjects of silver and gold and garments, and gave them to Rebekah. He also gave precious gifts to her brother and her mother. Then he and the men with him ate and drank, and spent the night. When they got up in the morning, he said, "Send to me my master." But her brothers and mother said, "Let the girl stay with us for about 10 days, then she can go." But he responded to them, "Do not delay me, since the Lord has made my journey a success. Send me away, so I may go to my master." So they said, "Let's call the girl, and ask her opinion." They called Rebekah, and said to her, "Will you go with this man?" She replied, "I will go." So they sent away their sister Rebekah with the one who had nursed and raised her, and Abraham's servant and his men. They blessed Rebekah, saying to her, "Our sister, may you become thousands upon 10,000s. May your offspring possess the city gates of their enemies." This is such a long chapter. Then Rebekah and her female servants got up, mounted the camels, and followed the man. So the servant took Rebekah and left. Now Isaac was returning from Beer Lahai, where he was living in the Negev region. In the early evening, Isaac went out to walk in the field, and looking up he saw camels coming. Rebekah looked up, and when she saw Isaac, she got down from her camel, and asked the servant, "Who is that man in the field coming to meet us?" The servant answered, "That is my master." So she took her veil and covered herself, and the servant told Isaac everything he had done. And Isaac brought her into the tent of his mother Sarah, and took Rebekah to be his wife. Isaac loved her, and she was comforted after his mother's death. Right, was that the end of chapter 24 or chapter 25? Right, okay, chapter 25, this is the last chapter for today. Scroll down, please. Down button working. Hello? Mr. Down button. Please. Why must you hurt me in this way? Okay, there. Chapter 25, Abraham's other wives and sons. Okay, right, this is a long one. Abraham had taken another wife, whose name was Keturah, and she bore him Shimron, Jokshan. Okay. I'm not going to read this bit here. Basically, Abraham gave everything he owns to Isaac, but Abraham gave gifts to sons of his concubines, and while he was still alive, he sent them eastward away from his son Isaac to the land of the East. Okay, yeah, that's just a load of names, I don't want to read that. This is the length of Abraham's life, 175 years. He took his last breath and died at a good age, old and contented, and he was gathered to his people. His son Isaac and Ishmael buried him in the cave of Machpelah near Mamre, in the field of Ephron, son of Zohar the Hethite. This was the field that Abraham brought from the Hethites. Abraham was buried there with his wife Sarah. After Abraham's death, God blessed his son Isaac, who lived near Beer-Halah. Rest in peace, Abraham. He was actually like a decent human being, kind of. Was he? Maybe not, I don't know. Ishmael's family records. He did like sacrifice his son though. These are the family. Okay. Again, this is just a load of words. Like a load of names of people. And it was like, oh, there was Johnny, and Johnny begot Martha. And Martha lived to 300 years old. It's just that for a whole paragraph, so I'm not going to read that. The birth of Jacob and Esau. These were the family records of his son, of Isaac, son of Abraham. Abraham fathered Isaac. Isaac was 40 years old when he took as his wife Rebekah, daughter of Bethuel, the Aramean, from Padan Aram, and sister of Laban, the Aramean, from Padan Aram, the sister of it. Is this just more? Yeah. Isaac prayed to the Lord on behalf of his wife because she was childless. The Lord was receptive to his prayer, and his wife Rebekah conceived. But the children inside her struggled with each other, and she said, "Why is this happening to me?" And she went to inquire of the Lord, and the Lord said to her, "I cannot talk today, and should end the stream very soon. 2 people will come out from you and be separated. 1 people will be stronger than the other, and the older will serve the younger." When her time came to give birth, there was indeed twins in her womb. The first one came out red-looking, covered in hair like a fur coat, and they named him Esau. After this, his brother came out, grasping Esau's heel with his hand. So he was named Jacob. Isaac was 60 years old when they were born. People are real old in the Bible all the time. Esau sells his birthright. When the boy grew up, Esau became an expert hunter and outdoorsman, but Jacob was a quiet man who stayed at home. Isaac loved Esau because he had a taste for wild game, but Rebekah loved Jacob. Once when Jacob was cooking a stew, Esau came from the field exhausted. He said to Jacob, "Let me eat some of that red stuff, because I am exhausted." That is why he was also named Edom. Jacob replied, "First, sell me your birthright." Don't do it. It's a bad idea. "Look," said Esau, "I'm about to die, so what good is a birthright to me?" And Jacob said, "Swear to me first."